started. So first, I want to give a shout out to our head coach for his work on the mound the other day. I thought that was pretty special. I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought he was going to come with some speed, but he actually had some movement, which I thought was awesome. So, want to congratulate Rome and TJ for the Piccolo Award. Both guys very deserving, great teammates, great players. Rome's a guy that I believe is going to take the next step. He's putting the work in now, get himself prepared, and with great coaches with him too. And I think he'll take the next step, which is really exciting for all of us. And TJ, obviously, um, unbelievable teammate, leader, someone that we lean on to depend on to carry our defense. It's been really cool to see him grow. And really, when I get into TJ, we talk about the extension too. Really happy to get that done. You look at, right now our guys are going to start preparing for the undrafted free agent process. And when you see a guy like that go from being undrafted, working himself into his first contract, elevating his game again, and getting a second contract, I think that's special. And I think that motivates all the other guys that come in the door. And again, no one's more deserving than he is. Kyler as well. Really happy to get that done. Impact player for us. Ability to make plays all over the field in different phases. He's a guy that I believe is ascending and will continue to grow. And when he gets into this new defense, I think his game can go to the next level as well. With the draft, I'm going to give the opportunity for Ian to come up and talk about our preparation. Feel really confident where we're at. I think this one's going to be a little wild, but we're going to be prepared for all the different scenarios that pop up. The time working with Ben throughout this has been great. Some really good communication, some great discussions as we set the board and get prepared for the draft in a couple of days. I'll open it up.
What makes you say that about it? You think this draft in particular is going to be wild? What specifically are you thinking of when you say that?
Yeah, I think it's deeper in certain areas than others. Usually the cutoff is a little bit quicker. I think once you kind of get into 2, 3, and this one's going to be a little bit different. So I think there's going to be a lot more movement than there has been in the past.
In what ways have you felt Ben's impact during this draft?
Yeah, so we spent time together, just in the room and working through the board and having some really good discussions. I think it's important to understand in terms of the scheme and how we're built, and I think it's going to take time figuring that out, what we're going to be good at, but what do we certainly want to have to create an advantage for our team and get off to a good start. And then obviously, as a head coach, you have to have those discussions with the defense as well and picking DA's mind. So those discussions have been really good.
When you say you think there's going to be a lot more movement, there's kind of this idea out there now that teams in the top 10 might have a little bit harder time trading back. Do you see it that way or the opposite?
Potentially. There's a lot of phone calls going on right now, so it's hard to tell today. But I think as we get closer, it'll start to show itself.
With 2 days to go, how large is the pool of players you're looking at right now for pick 10?
Yeah, there's a large pool of very good football players, and then I think you can do some different things to get more players that are going to be able to come in and help your team quickly.
As it relates to draft preparation, how do you view Darnell Wright? Do you see him exclusively on the right side, or are you open-minded to shifting him to the left if something materializes that would?
Yeah, I think that's a conversation. We'll see how everything goes. He clearly has the ability to play left and right. We saw that in college. That was part of the value in taking Darnell. So if he had to play left, I think he'd play left. And obviously, I think we're all excited about his stuff to go right.
Offensive tackle in the draft.
Why do you think there doesn't seem to be a consensus on the rankings? I'm sure you have your rankings solid, but it just nationally, it seems like different guys are in different places.
I'm not sure.
Is it because of? I mean, do you see like?
I think it's just whoever's watching the player has an opinion on what they like, what they don't like. Every player is going to have holes. It's how you project them to play in your scheme, in your system, and do they have the traits and tools to overcome their deficiency. So it's just the flavor that you're looking for.
Ryan, what's the
When it comes to
luxury of,
extensions, would you trade
For Joe Tooney, it's obviously a big move, right?
Mhm.
Safe to say you're hoping to have him here for more than 1 year. Would he be next in line for an extension?
Yeah, that's definitely, I would say, one of the priorities moving forward.
Ryan, how does having those 4 picks through 72 help you?
Yeah, they're very valuable to us. I think we can do some really good things to add to our football team and bring good players in.
The signing a piece like TJ Edwards to not only one, but his second contract now make you look at the undrafted market a little bit differently, like there are gems that can be gotten here that can be starters and impact players on the team.
Yeah, and I think with today's landscape, college landscape, I think you're going to see a lot more guys like that, guys that have been developed that stay the extra year. I think there's going to be a high volume of those players. We challenge our group to, we take that very seriously. We pair up with the coaches. Ian can get in kind of the details of that. But that's what you're looking for. If you can hit a couple of those guys per year, you're cooking.
Thanks, guys.
How's everybody doing? Good to see everybody. Like we always do, I just want to start by just saying some thank yous. I'm not going to name everybody, but just want to first start with our coaching staff. These guys have been great to work with alongside since they've come, I would say, January. It's been a joy to get to know them. We've asked a lot of them to start with, evaluating our own roster, current roster, evaluating the free agent class, the draft class, along with, them preparing their schemes and playbooks, getting prepared for the players to come. So there's been a lot of work that they've had to do. It's been incredible, the alignment that we've had, the great communication that we've had. So just want to say thank you to those guys to start. And then our football ops crew, we asked them to do a lot during this time of year. Those guys help with the draft process, but also this year with the coaches coming in, new staff coming in, the onboarding, they've had to wear multiple hats. So just want to make sure we say thank you to them, our equipment staff, our wellness team, performance, engagement, ATCs, the doctors, security, our cafeteria workers with all the 30 visits that we've had, and local pro day. We've had the most players here for our local pro day this year, so they had a lot of work to do. Our video staff, analytics, IT, everybody involved in this process. Our scouts and personnel staff, we believe they're the best in the NFL. We ask so much of them. This process really started last May, right? So they do a lot of their spring work, their summer work, set our summer board, get into fall camp, our weekly deadlines, our bi-weekly calls, our December meetings, our February meetings, combine, you name it. These guys grind. They're away from their families for so much time. Just want to say thank you to them, and it's really because of the leadership of Breck Ackley, Francis St. Paul, and Trey Koziel. These guys have done a phenomenal job of developing our crew. I do want to shout out our scouting assistants. As a scouting assistant, when I first got in the league, I had an old scout tell me there's the 2 toughest jobs in personnel as a scouting assistant and a GM, because you have to do everybody else's job as a scouting assistant than your own. We have some really good first-year scouting assistants, Patrick Holly, Ryan Brosnan, and James O'Shaughnessy. These guys have a bright future in this league, so just want to make sure we say thank you to them. And then lastly, the families. We have a lot of coaches that are coming in and out. Their families are in and out. Some families haven't moved yet. Having been in that position a few years ago, I know the toll it takes on the family. We know the toll it takes on the family. So just want to say thank you to them and all of our scouts families and everybody involved, because it's a long year and it helps us, be prepared for this job this weekend. So with that,
Ryan kind of took you out of the coaching search to let you focus on that. Just what was that time period like for you while all this change was going on in this building at the same time?
Yeah, personally, it was awkward. First, just grateful for Kevin and George and Ryan for their belief in me, for allowing me that time. But also at the same time, I felt in limbo, right? Like I wanted to be a part of this process. It was just a weird time. wanted to put my best foot forward. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in Tennessee, and as soon as that was done, got back in, started watching all the videos of the coaching interviews, and got back in late with Ben, and was able to be a part of that process. Glad we were able to get him on board, and then led our free agent meetings. And literally, when free agent meetings ended, Jacksonville came, and then it was back into this weird position again. So being in and out of those situations, it's tough because you feel a certain way. All that you devote your time here. You want to help this crew, and you also have your own goals and aspirations. So you feel a little bit weird, but again, thankful for those opportunities, grateful for those opportunities. But yeah, when it didn't work out, not gonna lie, it hurt. Not immune to that, but you got to pick yourself back up off the mat, shake the cobwebs off, and start swinging again. That's where we're at here. Now my sole focus is this draft and bringing a winner to Chicago.
When you bring in a new head coach and new coaching staff, how do you kind of feel their impact as a front office in terms of what's important to them, what kind of player they want? I imagine it's not a drastic change from the previous regime, but it is a change, isn't it?
Yeah, I think one of the best things that we did was when they first got here in February, we had DA and the whole defensive coaching staff come into the draft room, and they met with all of our scouts and all of our personnel, all of our analytics, and told us what they were looking for at each position. And I think it's super helpful just for our scouts, for all of us to be on the same page, to know what we're looking for. And we did the same thing with Declan and the offensive coaching staff. And then after that was done, Ben stayed in and was able to share his 2 cents as well. So again, that communication up front is super important. It paints a picture for us so that we can go out and get the perfect players for them.
Was there a lot of adjusting at that point? Because you guys start your draft preparation months before that.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of adjustment, just in terms of, you're evaluating for a certain scheme. Offensively, it didn't change that much. Defensively, a little bit. But our scouts are awesome, and DA did an outstanding job of communicating exactly what he wanted. So for us to make that transition, it was fairly seamless.
As you talk through scenarios of potentially moving out of 10, one way or the other, when you look at this particular draft class, what would prompt you guys to consider going up from 10?
Good question, Dan. It depends. It depends what the cost is, who the player is, the value, all those sorts of things. We're weighing those right now, but we'll see. We'll see come draft night.
Yeah, and there's obviously a bunch of really good running backs at the top of this draft. What's your philosophy in terms of weighing the instant reward of that position with also the longevity and how that compares to other positions?
Yeah, I think the values, if he's a playmaker and a really good player, you take a really good player. That's the beauty of our process. Our philosophy is best player available. Yeah, we weigh premium position versus non-premium position, but at the end of the day, it's a playmaker, right? And if we see him in that role, I think you can go take a playmaker that's not a premium position.
What do you think's unique about this draft compared to like previous ones that you've done? Such better.
The amount of top tier talent, while it's good, the volume isn't necessarily there. I feel like there's a few clumps of groups of players that are really good, but they're similar in terms of value, and I feel like there's good depth in certain positions.
Ian, you talk about the volume maybe not being there. So how much does position scarcity or depth play into what you might do at 10?
It plays a lot into it, just in terms of trying to anticipate where some of the drop-off's going to be, depending upon what positions we may have higher versus other positions, or, at the same position, maybe there's a larger drop-off, right? It just depends, where we're at 10 or at 39 or 41.
How is the clarity at left tackle? I know the guys aren't on the field yet, but just to have Karan in the building, Braxton in the building, and know that maybe that's the route you guys go at 10 and
Yeah.
surplus there.
I mean, I think we're fortunate to have those guys in the building, right? Yeah. Braxton's coming off injury, he's doing a great job in his rehab, but he's a proven starter in this league, right? And he's mentally and physically tough. We know he's going to come back full healthy and do a really good job. And having Karan last year, we knew what the issues were, just obviously him and his injury, but the mental toughness, the resilience, what he showed in that Washington game gave us hope. And obviously we saw what happened in Minnesota, but it was on a short week and a rookie, and those sorts of things. But we have high hopes for both of those players.
How has you guys' evaluation of offensive line prospects changed throughout the years that you've been here, or maybe grown through the experience that you've had?
Good question. I think every year you're trying to develop and grow as an evaluator, as a leader, as a person, right? So you learn from your mistakes, you learn from your hits as well. But I do think it's a little bit case by case. But we feel confident with where we're at and the players that we brought in here and our evaluations overall.
This is admittedly small, but you guys are picking close in round 2, 39 and 41. Is there a dance you guys have to do to make sure that the player picked at 40 isn't one that you really want, and trying to figure that out?
Yeah, we do a good job. Our pro staff, Jeff King, DJ Horde, Charles Love, Jake Ponigvar, they do a really good job of assessing the team needs along with our analytics crew to try to anticipate what teams are looking for, maybe certain players that they've talked to. We try to figure out maybe which direction they're going to go. But at the same time, I think that helps us in determining some of those things. But again, it's we don't know. We're not in their draft room, so we just try to do the best job we can.
Ryan said a player in the draft. How do you balance what the coach's ideal size or weight or whatever it is at that position is with maybe what the scouts are seeing or you're seeing upside wise on their play?
Yeah, it's a good question. The beautiful thing is we're in alignment. That was wild to see. We'll have our draft meetings. We brought the coaches in. We'll have our stack by the position, color coded all the way down. The coach will come in. He'll have his stack as well. And for the most part, we saw the players similarly. The stacks weren't necessarily identical, but the value, the role fit vision were similar. So that gave us a lot of confidence. It gives us a lot of confidence going into this draft.
Ryan said he thinks it could get wild. First round pick hasn't been traded yet. Do you guys have a real sense that things are gonna start popping?
It could get wild, Brad. It could get wild. Sit back and watch. I mean, we have no feel right now. We'll see.
How much do you think where the quarterbacks in this draft kind of fall impacts what you guys could potentially do? Like, what are those conversations like about the quarterbacks and how that impacts 10?
Yeah, you'd like as many quarterbacks to go in front of us as possible, just because that's not a position we're not going to take a quarterback this year. But yeah, we'll see.
You've been here over 3 years now. You know what matters to the culture of this team, the family, like all of that. How did you witness Ben so authentically buy in so quickly?
That's him. You just hit it. He's authentic and he's genuine. Really good person, super thoughtful, passionate, loves ball, cares deeply about the people that he's around, the players. He does a great job he's super flexible too, just in talking players. We want the same things in terms of the types of people that we're going to bring in the building. And then he's super flexible, makes our job a lot easier in terms of just giving him talent, and he's going to make it work.
Thank you.